My name is Keith.
I'm Reno.
What's up? I'm Danny.
And I'm Patty, and it's all bad.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Patty, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're stoked.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
What
We've been talking for the last hour. We've
I
been
know.
We're all out of story. We're
Full on out in the parking lot. Then a huddle of us kept talking in a big bundle all the way into here.
Yeah. We should start recording outside. So by
Right.
the time we get in here, then we'll have
Yeah.
I always feel that way, but like when you have fun, cool, interesting people, you always find a third gear. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're totally
Always.
find a third gear.
Always. Yeah.
There's never, we never run out of steam all the way.
It's cool to find out who we have in common too. I mean, we all know people from different places. And
Yeah, it is really wild, the amount of like
Yeah.
weird crossover shit.
Oh my God.
It is nutty. Like I'm doing this thing at work with this other company. We're collaborating on this project, and like one of the creative directors, I jumped on a call with them yesterday in the middle of the day, and he was like talking about business, and then at the end he's like, "Hey, I noticed on Instagram that you're like running around with Dead City Mike." I swear to God, I swear to shout out Dead City Mike. And I was like, that's so crazy. Like I would have never thought that this. He's a cool kid. He's a Silver Lake kid, but you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we just started talking about Dead City Mike and how dope he is. He's like, I met him through this girl I was dating and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
But
cool.
you know him in a different way now. Dead City. Is this a band?
He's in a band. You'll really like this band.
Oh yeah, you would love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an LA Times article last week where it was like the only dangerous band in LA anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which
They call it like DIY punk, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like basically show up and just like set up, plug
like
in,
generators,
light fires, and
building a
shit.
stage under the river and having a concert.
Cool.
Like
Yeah, they started playing during this. They started playing during the pandemic when they started like doing these like when everything shut down and there was no shows, and they started playing like outdoor shows. And at first it was like 100, 200 people where everything was closed and we
Right.
were on lockdowns.
Yeah.
And they would come and all these like punk and graffiti kids would come together and come to their shows. And then people wanted to go do stuff. You know,
Yeah.
people were like tired of being cooped up in their house. So
Yeah.
they started more and more people started coming out. And then they just released this documentary on kind of like on a bunch of their shows, but this one big show that they threw at the in Frogtown at the LA River, where like they threw this show and it ended up being they went and they like built a stage out of concrete. They've put a bunch of stuff to like
I think I saw something like that.
They found like bird scooters and stuff. Any trash that they put under to build this stage out,
Yeah.
and then they played a show and it was like 5,000 people showed up. And just like
that's
and they
crazy.
posted it an hour. They posted the address an hour before they played.
Yeah.
There's this houseless encampment over there.
Uh-huh.
And when we drive, we get on the 2, and every time my girlfriend will go, oh, look at it, it's romantic. Just out outside. You know?
There's still times where I see it, and it still seems so good.
Easy living, like easy
I
living.
used to think that too. I was always like, I still will be like driving down Glendale Boulevard or something, and then there's like those lines of like Winnebagos and stuff,
Yeah.
and they've been there forever.
Yeah,
and
for
I'll
sure.
think that's what I should have done. What? You know, like I have to go back and like maybe
Do
if
it right.
you know, like I didn't do it right. That's always my thought too. Is like, wait a minute, no, I'm going to do it again, but this time I need to add this one thing.
Totally.
And I'll be able
You're
to.
like now the RV is like respected as your
Exactly,
domicile,
yeah,
so
yeah.
they can't come in there.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
so
a
funny.
van dweller.
Yeah.
Driving around in it.
It reminds me one time I was in an AA meeting or an NA meeting, I think it was, and this guy was talking about how like he was like a dude that did prison treatment and was like living a regular life now, and he was complaining about like how hard it was to fucking pay rent and take care of business, and you know what I mean. He's like, sometimes I think back in the old days, he's like an $8 bicycle inner tube, you know what I mean, or you know what I mean, having to pay rent on a 2-bedroom apartment. Man, it was a lot easier back then.
Yeah. Any kind of bathroom with just one stall and a lock was great. Like I had like a mental like little checkbook in my mind. Don't forget that Pioneer Chicken over there.
Oh yeah.
So where'd you grow up, Patty?
I grew up in Seattle. Well, actually, like in a small town north of Seattle called Marysville. And it was all, like cowboys and
Yeah.
farm and strawberry fields and kind of rural. And it was all, like rock and stoner rock. Well,
Right.
not stoner
Like
rock. but
Lynyrd Skynyrd and shit like that, yeah.
like Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And then we would, we'd do like have keggers out on the reservation, which is like that right next to the city is the reservation and the Tulalip reservation, and the city cops
Yeah, they got
go
a
there.
casino there now, huh?
Yeah,
Tulalip.
there's a
Yeah.
casino. And we would go out there to have all the kegs because, like, city cops couldn't go there. It was only, like, I think, like, state patrol, and
Yeah.
they never went out there. So it was like we were like these crazy maps. You have to go left at this one, tree that looks like an old lady, and then you go right up, and then you drive up, and then there's a rope swing, and then,
So
and then you
funny.
drive out, and there's a keg and a barn and stuff.
Would there be
shit.
bands playing and stuff?
Yeah. And that's like I started playing in bands like that,
Wow.
Metal bands.
like yeah. Well, just rock bands.
Yeah.
And then one time there's this band called The Accused.
Yeah.
They were playing, and I was there, and then they were like, "Well, do you want to play?" And so I like played some. It was so weird. It was like. Like let the girl play, or whatever. and then I got into my first band in high school, and then we would play at all these you always play at the most ridiculous places. Like it's my punk rock band, but nobody else was punk rock at school.
Yeah.
And this is like 84, 85, and
That's
you play
crazy.
at the
That's
Teen
early.
Rec Center, and then
Yeah.
you play in the cafeteria or somebody's.
In Marysville still, not in Seattle
Yeah,
yet.
or Everett, which is the
Okay.
next
Right.
city. And, you play at somebody's backyard and stuff. And
Yeah.
one of these parties had all these really great straight edge bands. There's a band called False Liberty and Christ on a Crutch, which had Nate Mendel, who's in the Foo Fighters. It was
Oh, no
his
shit.
her first band.
Oh.
And there was like a half pipe, and my band played.
This is in
Primitives.
Marysville?
Yeah, it was like up even farther out in Mount Vernon, which is almost to the Canadian border.
It's so funny to me because all
awesome.
you guys we all think of you guys as all Seattle people.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm like listening to the Mark Lanigan book right now.
Oh, right, me too.
And he's from
finished
like
it.
way out.
Yeah,
it's
Ellensburg.
Great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ellensburg.
Yeah, that book is dark.
And like Buzz is from nobody's really from Seattle.
right,
proper.
right. Some kids like Stone from Pearl Jam.
Pearl
Jam,
yeah.
He went to private school and stuff. And
Yeah.
Grew up in
nice
like,
wealthy family. Him and who else? Like Steve from Mudhoney. But then what's his name? Jeff from Pearl Jam. He was from Montana. It's
Jeff
like all
Hunt.
these like locations around Portland or But yeah.
But everybody kind of went to Seattle because that's where the hub was.
Yeah.
That's where there were clubs. Capitol Hill.
Right, Capitol Hill. Everybody sort of like went that way, and that's when I, started playing. The more I played in these different little bands, then eventually I got to Seattle.
Yeah.
Like these all ages shows, which were rare because they didn't really have a lot of all ages venues. There
Yeah.
were some rules about that, but we play these shows, and then like the more I play out, the more people I'd meet, and then you're just in like playing.
In the mix.
Yeah, you're in the mix.
What was the first band that really blew that grunge thing up?
Well, it feels like there's so many different like views like on what, but like I feel like
There's levels to it.
yeah. I mean, like Mudhoney was like
Yeah.
so big, but then like Soundgarden, but I never thought Soundgarden was like that big of a but
Yeah.
they did. But yeah, it was Nirvana. That
Yeah.
was the big when that
Well,
song
yeah.
came out, everybody was like, "Whoa,
Right, right.
what's going on?"
I remember like where I grew up. I grew up out by Riverside in a little town called Corona.
Yeah.
And there were like a couple of punks that I grew up with. They were like kind of like the dudes who would like go out and find out what was up and bring it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this one buddy of mine, Richie Boltzma, R.I.P. Richie, he had a ramp in his backyard. He sold weed. Fucking, he was like the hub, But he was. He got hip to Sub Pop first,
Yeah.
and they started like talking about the Dwarves and Mudhoney and
Yeah.
all this kind of shit, and we started listening to all that stuff. And yeah, man, it was happening even before some of those bands went to major labels. Like they were happening.
I remember
my town.
Bruce Pavitt, who started Sub Pop, was a friend, and he'd come to see one of my bands, and he had a night called the Sub Pop Sunday, and it was at this place called the Vogue. And in my mind, I had always had these like little goals, like I want to play this club and I want to play that club. And like when he said, come and play my, night at the Vogue, I was like, I've made it.
That's
really
cool.
made it.
That's cool.
And then we hung out and like listened to records, and he's like telling me about, this is Mudhoney, and they're going to be, and this is Mark, and then, kind of showing me all the records. And we listened to, like, I remember listening to that first Pixies record, and hearing a lot of really great stuff, and sort of made a brand out of Sub Pop. Like, it looks like this. There's going to be like a singles club, and you sign up and you become a member.
Get a single and mail to you every month or something.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
Is that what the Singles movie was about?
No, different thing.
Yeah.
Singles.
So when you're hanging out with those, I saw their doc. They seem really cool. They seem like a really cool crew of people that had like a really great taste in music and culture.
Yeah.
When you're hanging out with them and listening to music and stuff, are they partying? Are you partying, or is it just chill?
I mean, I was always the one, kind of. And I grew up in a house with no alcohol. Both of my parents met in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
No shit.
Oh, wow.
In Brooklyn,
New York,
in the early '60s, and so they got clean and sober. Met each other in the meeting, and then drove from the East Coast to the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
And then, had me and my brother, and so I grew up in a, sober house, and I grew up in meetings, and I grew up with the language. So, and I kind of thought, well, I'm not going to be, and then I thought once I started drinking at 12, I thought, well, they just don't know, how to do it the way, or like they were drinking liquor. I'm just drinking beer, and it's different, God.
I mean, it's so wild to me, like that. Because like even back then, like, and I was on methamphetamine, but like all you guys, like I was like, God damn, is everybody a junkie? Like literally, like
Right.
like when you think of like how many junkies were in that Seattle, it's wild. Like,
I mean, it was drinking is such a big part of we all drank like crazy, and it was always houses with basements where we could all like jam and drink beer, and that was kind of my crowd because they were drinkers. That's why I was with them.
Right,
and then in my search for to get even farther out of myself, I landed on heroin. I mean, I went to cocaine and alcohol.
Right.
I mean, so many different chemistry experiments that we talk about. And so then, and then once I hit heroin, it was like, oh, okay. I've landed. Here we go.
Were you already on heroin when you joined Whole?
No,
right?
No,
Yeah.
but I was a drunk, and people always say, you got on drugs because of that band, or whatever. And it's no. I mean, I was a big drunk, and I used every kind of drug possible before that band. And that was even an issue, like, if you can believe it. Like, when I started rehearsing, like Eric, who plays guitar in Whole, was like, you drink too much, and I was like, whoa, well, and I remember he came over to my apartment in Seattle, and he comes in, and it's like 1 PM, and I'm like drinking a beer, and I offered him a beer, and he's like, what? No.
Oh,
and
wow.
I thought that was the weirdest thing, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh.
He was like really focused on
I
trying
think,
to, like,
no, I don't want to have a drink.
Like,
what do you
you're
mean
the
you don't
youngest
like-
member of that band, aren't you?
No, our bass player Melissa is the youngest.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
So
I'm kind of in the middle.
So just to rewind real quick, so you're in Seattle, you're playing in a few different bands?
Yeah, I
before
was
you-
playing in I played in a band called the Primitives, and then another like an all-girl band called Doll Squad.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
We played in Olympia, and that's when I met Kurt. Was like around in that scene, and so
The early lineup for Nirvana, there were 4 people in the band, right?
Chad Channing was the drummer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean, there was even one earlier incarnation with some dude with a mustache, and I forget what his name is. But they played like Creedence covers.
Oh, no
you know?
shit.
And I was like, what? And then I saw them again. I was like, oh, that's the band that plays the Creedence song.
Is that the dude who became a Navy SEAL or something crazy?
Oh, that's Jason Everman. He's a guitar player.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's so weird. He was like the extra guitar player in Nirvana for like a tour.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out. Then he was in Soundgarden.
Yes.
And
I
then,
remember that, yeah.
And that didn't work out. And it was like, then he became a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like a gnarly
Yeah.
That's dope.
It's like,
That's fucking
no,
dope.
I think I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah. Right on, bro.
Later, two great bands.
Not a lot of people in the Navy SEALs can say that, right? They were in fucking Nirvana and Soundgarden.
The other thing that's interesting, though, to me personally, like every goddamn band from Seattle's good. Like,
Yeah,
well, all the big ones that I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
From
there was a lot.
Mudhoney to
Yeah.
Hole to Nirvana to
Yeah.
Mother Love Bone, all
Right.
those bands.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam,
And-
the Dwarves.
Yeah.
I mean, so
the
many.
Dwarves are great. Yeah.
They're fucking hardcore.
And Hole was kind of an LA band, but had a single on Sub Pop. And so that's how I kind of knew of Hole. And the band, I was in a band called Sybil, and we opened for Hole in Seattle when Hole toured through in their first sort of incarnation. And that's when the first time I saw them, and it was like, okay, that's cool. I like their single too. And then like a year later, I'd moved to San Francisco, and I was living there, and like right when Seattle starts to take off, and I'm like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, right. You're like, I'm over
Everybody's
it.
like, what?
I'm over it.
Yeah. Well, this girl I like is going. I was like, God. And everybody's like, you made the wrong move. But I get this call, and it's my friend Dylan Carlson, who was in Earth.
Oh, I know Dylan.
Yeah. And Dylan's like, hey, Kurt's his wife is in this band, and she is looking for a new drummer. So that's how I got into Hole, and then made a plan to go down to L.A. and from San Francisco. And it was actually on my birthday, which is coming up on Friday,
Yeah.
the 24th.
Happy early birthday. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I remember going there, and like I had this like shitty like tiny little car with my drums in it, and they were like, go to Jabberjaw.
Yeah.
That's where the rehearsal was.
Wow.
And like brought in all my stuff, and it was so hot in there, and I was sweating like. But I was drinking and taking speed, and
Taking speed as in eating speed pills or
yes,
snorting?
pills.
Okay.
And then
Cross tops or some shit?
yeah, tons
Okay.
of them. They were like
$500. They were a
trucker. Yeah, it was
fucking
easy
great
to
deal.
get. Wow. And so I was doing that, and then Courtney comes really late, and Kurt comes in, and we were like catching up a little bit, and she's like, what's your, what drugs do you do? Was like one of the first questions. And I was like, well, alcohol and speed. And then we played a bunch of songs, and it was fun. And, and then it was
Did you already know the songs?
Kind of like Eric was like, here's this, Eric was the kind of the taskmaster of the band. And he was like, learn these songs, And so I kind of learned them. And then we just played just different things, and it was cool. We played a Wiper song, and
Oh, right.
I remember that was like one of the ones that was fun to play, and I had to learn all the old stuff,
Did the Wiper song make the album?
It didn't. It
Okay.
actually there was like a box set that this label put out, and it was all of these different bands doing Wiper songs, and Nirvana did one, and we did one.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
I've heard that record. I knew there was something
but I
like
think,
that.
but actually, Carolyn Rue, their old drummer, was the one that played on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Anyway.
cool.
Yeah. So
As a drummer, when you're trying to when someone says, when you're going to audition a band that's already fucking doing shit.
Yeah.
And someone says to you, learn these songs, is that difficult to do?
Not so much.
Because there's not so many
I can
really
hear it, and that I grew up like playing to records.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So and then I'll make notes, but there
Yeah.
are drummers that are far better than I that will be able to write shit out, and I
Okay.
can hear stuff and like play along to it,
Yeah.
reading it, which is not my thing.
Who's your favorite drummer?
I like Budgie from Susie and the Banshees. And of course, John Bonham is great. And Clem Burke.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Did you ever see that? There was this famous article there.
Yes, I know what you're going to say.
Neil Peart.
Oh, no.
They were asking Neil Peart, they go, what's it like being the greatest drummer in the world? And he literally goes, I don't know, you'd have to ask Karen Carpenter.
Yeah. That's so
amazing.
good. That's really good.
What was the article that you were thinking
I was thinking of the one where Clem was like, had some kind of like face mask on, and they were doing all these studies on like how long like the stamina and the heart rate of a person playing drums. Or it was like really interesting about sort of like your physical body, and it was some details.
Oh,
and
really?
Clem Burke was like part of that whole thing.
Yeah,
and
John Bonham was an animal.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Plus, he like was so fucked up and playing. I mean, I remember the first time, like I started playing drums before I had my first drink, right? I was 11. And then I remember at one of those parties, like having a bunch of beers and then sitting down at my drums and like struggling to keep
to play fucking
the stamina.
when the levee breaks.
I realized what the difference was. I really could tell.
Because it's exhausting, right?
Yeah, and it's like there is no you cannot, like, your mind, your body is in a complete different realm.
Yeah, and also like the drummer's always the sweatiest one.
Right.
You're like, God.
Right. But then you begin the whole thing. Well, if I'm going to drink, I better do some coke. And then I better, I should probably shoot some. Yeah. That's quicker. And like so many of those, like, then it becomes the crack thing. Yeah. There was like a lot of times when I would get off tour and then go home and just be at home and like think I was going to be clean and like showing up at meetings, and then just go, I find myself, down
Did you
at the
stay
dope
living
house.
in San Francisco once you joined?
No, I went back to Seattle. So we're all living.
Because everybody's living. That's why I thought it was a Seattle base.
Yeah, we're all living in Seattle. Like Kurt and Courtney lived there, and then I lived there, and then Eric had a place, and our bass player Kristen, and so. But we were all like hiding from each other about what drugs we were doing. I mean, I kind of knew what Kurt and Courtney were up to, but like I was always lying about like, no, I'm fine. I'm not doing that, But like. So fucked up, and then
it's tough. It's
trying
tough
to get my shit together before tour. That story. Like if you're gonna travel and you think to yourself, well, I'll kick a week before, right? And you never do.
Never.
And then you're fucking thinking you're going to bring enough to do on the road. Oh my God.
It's gone
in
second shot.
Like by the
Stop.
2 days.
Oh, God.
And then you're like,
how much you get.
I
Yeah.
know.
You make it to Portland
And then
and
all
you're
of a
out.
sudden you're in Philadelphia and you're like calling a cab. You're like, take me to a bad neighborhood. Like how do you say that to somebody, Like
It's so funny that
I would
that's
always
what
look for the
methadone clinic. Yes.
Methadone clinic.
Me too.
Because then surrounding the methadone clinic,
Or
there's
like
always
one
some.
time I called a friend in San Francisco and I was like, hey, Georgie, guess what? Courtney's missing. We don't know where she is. Do you know where there's a neighborhood that might have drugs? And it's like, oh yeah, 16th and Mission. I was like, okay, we'll go look for her there.
just full of all kinds of fucking
Down there. And
You guys toured a lot too, right?
yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah. But then, there was a lot of downtime between like that our one tour, and like towards the end of that tour was just a nightmare of like on and off drugs all the time. And
Which tour was this for? Which record?
this was for Live Through This. Right?
Yeah,
and,
I love that record.
It's a great record.
and we did that Lollapalooza tour, and then we finished that whole thing up, and then I'm like, okay, we're done, and so I start getting high. Right, I'm strung out, and then I get a call and it's like, well, looks like we're going to have to play the MTV Video Music Awards.
No
and I was
way.
like, no. and there's video of it too. And I call up Courtney and I'm like, do you really think we're going to do it? Oh, absolutely not. Like getting her on my side, because if I get her to say no, then we're good to go. We don't have to do it. She's like, yeah. And I go, what do they think? We can jump when they want, and she's like, yeah, no. And then 2 seconds later, like she's like, I'll talk to Peter. And then, so that's our manager. And then like a half hour later, the phone rings. She goes, Pat, we're going to do it. We have to. And I was like, fucking A. So we go, and I'm fucking strung out and like.
Where was it, by the way?
It was at Radio City Music Hall. And like, that is such a beautiful place to be. And what a lucky thing to have happen in your life as a musician.
Yeah.
But am I there for that? No. I'm like, I got shooting a bunch of dope, going down, in New York where they lower the bucket. Did you ever hear about that?
I've heard about it.
I've seen it in movies.
Yeah. You put your money in the bucket and then they raise it up and then they drop it back down and then you take, it's been, one time it was a sock and I was like, I don't care. I'll put it in the sock. I don't care. And then they raise it up and then you take it's powder in New York. And so I'm doing all that and that never forget it. It was that was those, you hear it all the time. People say, when the drugs stop working. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
And then
no
matter how much I was doing, nothing could get me to feel okay about doing that show that night. Nothing. And I was trying like so much and nothing would calm my nerves and make me feel okay. And I got up we played the song and everybody in my band knew I was fucked up. And I remember everything stops and the song's over and our guitar player turns around and kicks some microphones and they fall down on top of me and I'm like, oh, and I'm, running out of there. And there was stuff we had to do after. And I was like, fuck it. I'm not doing any of this press stuff. It was when Courtney had thrown a compact or something at Madonna. There was that.
Oh, yeah. Just
so I was supposed to be in that little mix, but I was like, I'm out of here, and crushed. And so I get off the stage and I'm going through these places, these theaters have all these little, walkways and hallways. And I'm going, I can't find my way out. And there's all these people. And I start to go down this hallway and I hit this one section of bunch of people and I'm getting the mix of it and the crowd starts to disperse and I look and it's freaking Michael Jackson standing there. And he's got that mask on because he always wears the mask.
Yeah.
And he's wearing the mask and I'm like, whoa, and I was like, I don't give a two shits. Get out of my way, Michael Jackson. I got to get back. I've got to smoke crack and shoot dope. And it was that night that I guess him and Lisa Marie were on the show, on the music awards.
They had their little kiss or whatever.
Yeah, they had to prove that they were a couple.
Yeah.
And,
so
yeah,
crazy.
and I was like, out of there. Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of
crazy.
Those moments of magic that you wish for as a kid, and then, but I thought that I wouldn't be able to play or to be my ego would be, it was so sensitive, and it was scary, whenever we do, especially with Courtney, who's so she's, can be scary, and for me, I was I felt it was just a lot of crazy,
and it was too big.
Yeah, it was
too
really
big.
Yeah. And then to not be able to really, always just be quiet and just kind of chill. And then, so, but then to allow, then to feel better, that's when I would, started doing dope. It felt so much better.
People don't really understand, at least, these kids these days don't understand, what it was like back then. It wasn't 90 million fucking Instagrams and this avenue of content, and it was MTV and a few fucking radio stations, and it was your band was massive and there was 4 or 5 other bands that were massive, and you guys were probably in the spotlight everywhere you went. They were talking about who you're dating, what's going on, all this shit. So for someone who's trying to hide a fucking massive drug addiction,
right,
on top of feelings of insecurity and all this kind of stuff, coupled with the fact of it's not uncommon, I think, as addicts, you have this goal and this thing you're trying to do and reach, and you work up to it, and then all of a sudden you don't have program, you don't have God, you don't have family, friends, or anything. You're just running on sheer self-will and fucking a habit. Yeah. And you get to it and you can't even fucking enjoy it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough. You're not alone in that club. I mean, maybe in terms of the musical level you were at, but I think there's a lot of people that share that,
And a lot of like, getting pictures taken and like, am I too fat or am like body issues, you know?
Totally.
And then am I smart enough, and to know because I came from a home with recovery, but in my mind to know all this, but still say it to myself, well, I need this, I need this. I can't do it without it.
Full on, yeah.
And then to get to a point where, the band's over and they're like, you're out of the band, Patty, and I'm like, but that's my whole life, and they have no identity besides that. And then that was like, I'm downtown and I live on the street, literally all of it's gone. And then because I couldn't, I'm like, well, now what? That was everything, You
had a doc, right? There was
I had a documentary that told the story of
I saw it.
Trying to I guess make it all kind of like in a shorter story.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm like, let's roll the tape.
Yeah, and I wrote a book too, and it was more details of like what happened on that path. But
it was really interesting because at one point in the doc, you were saying like, just to be closer to the connection. Like you just started staying right down there and hanging out down there.
Yeah.
Because you're down there closer to where the dope is.
Yeah, it's right there. So
it's just like the next thing you know, you're like there.
Yeah, and then that pain from getting kicked out of my band, and that pain, I had to keep on using it.
100%.
Now,
it's interesting about that because I always whenever a band is known for a drug problem,
right.
When I was in Impact in '98 and I got there, and Mike Starr, rest in peace, was in there with me.
I know him.
And Mike was, but it was super. He was kind of in that position you were in.
Yeah.
And it was the wildest thing. So we're at Impact, and I knew who he was. It's like '98, and he's like, so whatever happened, and everybody knows, that whole band. Well, I don't know, but he wasn't the only one.
Right.
But it was like, well, somebody's got to go, and they kicked Mike out, and I'm like, damn, but. You know what I mean? They're trying to clean it up, and they're like, okay, somebody's got to go. So there's always somebody who's like collateral damage. And,
right. It's never going to be the singer.
Right.
It will never be the singer.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. It's interesting. It's like instead of because I think the only thing that was like a real successful thing with the whole band was like Aerosmith. Well, they got them all.
Yeah.
Bob Timmons did or whatever.
Right.
Like, here's the deal. You guys are fucked.
That's who helped them out, Bob Timmons.
Yeah, because he was like the first
Bob
intervention
Timmons.
guy, Bob.
Okay.
He was the guy.
And Bob Bob was friends with David Geffen. And Aerosmith didn't even have a fucking record deal. That's how fucked up they were.
Wow.
That book was so good. There was a book backstage with or something. I forget what it's called. I just made that up.
No, Bob did the intervention, put everybody in.
I gotta hear that. Listen to that.
He put them all into different rehabs or something.
Yeah,
like the whole fucking band. I think, or at least 3 of them. And then if they stayed sober, he took them, you know what it was? He took them to David Geffen, who Bob was friends with somehow. And David Geffen and Bob, the deal was like, all right, you motherfuckers stay sober, you got a record deal here.
Yeah.
If you fuck up, it's a done deal.
Wow.
So it was a weird thing, you know, but otherwise, you hear it all the time. There's always bands
they came back and made all that sober music in the 90s.
Yeah. And that really was the thing. It was like you, I would get sober for them. I would get sober for my band. They sent me to rehab so many times, and I'd get out and go, okay, back at it. Let's do this, And then the last time, it was like, not this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but was there sober people around in the scene? Was there guys was there people that were that you were playing with that were hanging out that were
Yeah, I mean, I had sober friends, but I really but I I distanced myself from that, and then I would just kind of hide.
Well, it's always when you're when you've been sober for a little bit and you get a little taste of it, and then you run in, you see somebody and you're loaded. There's nothing worse. You see them, you're you just want to hide.
Joseph Brooks.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay,
Joseph.
so I'm I've got a stack of records, right, and I'm waddling on into Amoeba,
Oh,
and this was
to
at
get
the end
$50.
in 2004 4 or 5, and I'm like this, like full on crack habit and dope, and I'm in there with these records, and they're like janky, who knows? And there's Joseph, and I'm like, oh shit, and I like felt like there was a giant spotlight on me, and like I was like, does he see me, or and then I couldn't wait though. I had to sell the shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he saw me because I'm sure I've talked to him since then. He's like, no, I don't know. And I'm like, but you think, and there's these sober people all around you, and you're like, holy shit,
Yeah, the other thing
Joseph
too.
Brooks, funny. Joseph Brooks is friends with my mom.
Oh,
No
wow.
shit.
Yeah, because he does
Jewelry?
the jewelry
Yes.
stuff. So my mom does my mom puts together one of the big gem shows in Tucson. Shout out Jogs.
She puts that together?
Yeah, she's been doing it for 30 years.
No.
JOGS, one of the biggest
No way.
shows. Yeah,
That's sick.
I don't know if she'll be stoked that I'm shouting out her or not or embarrassed. But but he was like, I was talking to him and he was like, oh, I'm going to Tucson for the gem shows, and I was like, oh, my mom's been doing it for years, and he goes, oh, who's your mom? And my mom is like, put the whole thing on, and I told her, he's like, oh my God, Yelena, I love her. Like he knows my mom,
I think everybody loves your mom.
everybody
That's
loves
true.
my mom.
Mom is
So then he goes out and I get a photo, like, a week later, I get a photo from my mom of like her and Joseph Brooks,
That's cool.
And then even crazier. So then, and it was like right after the fires happened, and there was this woman that came into the cafe, and we were doing like all that fire relief stuff.
Yeah.
We were like, I think we did something like 30,000 breakfast burritos that we sent out to first responders,
Yeah,
and
it
then
was
to
a good
people
run
affected
going.
in Altadena. And there's this woman that comes in one day and she goes, hey, I'm a chef and I'm here to help. I'm here to, and I need to and we're like, okay, cool. Like show up at 6:00 with all the other volunteers. She had her knife bag and everything. So she was like legit, everybody else is just like people that wanted to help. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she showed up and she was there every day. And she kind of like help us, like ran the, was like, would come in and would really hold it down and would like put people in their place and run stuff. And,
Wow.
And I get a photo and it's my mom, Joseph Brooks, and her.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was like, oh, I was out there and somehow like, I ran into Joseph and he was like, and we started talking and I introduced him to your mom. And then my mom, she's like, oh, my son owns this place. And they like sent me a photo of the three of them. My mom called and she's like,
Danny Danny's always like the shining star with everybody until his mom shows up and nobody gives a shit about Danny. Like Danny's all moonwalking around the tropical. Danny's mom shows up and we're like, hey, get out the way.
Step aside.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's really cool though is when you're kind of like in a circle like you just described and you all know somebody back home and everybody's just like glowing about that person.
Well, there's a weird, dude, there's such a weird connection. The Joseph Brooks connection is wild. Like, you think like Patty, Sweet Pea, Valerie. I mean, because he's a lot older than Patty and me.
Yeah.
And but he had like Club Fucked and Cinematic and all these great clubs, and it's weird, like
Vinyl
generations. Fetish. Vinyl Fetish.
I knew his
record
daughter.
Store.
His daughter Amra, and that's she.
Amra's like our age, right? Or maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah,
right?
and she's like a professor of writing, and
she
wrote a book, and it's amazing, and
Wait, so he I probably know him from the.
Oh, you know him for sure.
He owned clubs.
Yeah, he owned a record store called Vinyl Fetish, and then he would do club nights,
but it was huge.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Right. I feel like I've heard
back
of
in the
Cinematic.
80s.
Yeah, Sweet Pea. Oh God, Aaron, Tom Moore's husband.
Okay.
They all worked there.
Right.
Like,
Nice.
but like they were like the fetish clubs. You know?
Oh, okay.
Ron Athey was in there in that mix, I think.
But it's generational because Joseph's like probably close to 70.
Yeah, and very good friends with Susie and the Banshees.
Oh, no way.
First time
You
Susie and the
mentioned
Banshees
jewelry.
played
Does he
here
do jewelry for
was at his record store, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because Joseph used to have a 2-hour show on Sunday nights on K-Rock.
Really?
Yeah, but it's weird. Like Joseph's the amount of people that are connected to Joseph is wild.
That's a trip.
Because you have to think like she's in a band that is like like not really part of the Seattle scene, even though it's from LA. But he has connections to like Allison Burns, who's like in that rock and roll, like a completely different rock scene, like the hair bands.
Right.
Everybody knows Joseph. It's so wild.
That's a trip.
So to have him run into you while you're clucking your records, but that's the last person.
It's always,
That is the last
of
person
course.
you want to see.
Yeah, the last person.
Yeah.
Like what you want to see is another dude fucking somebody else with a bunch of shittier
And
records.
I always thought, I'd see Amra and go, I think your dad hates me. Like, she's like, no, because he saw me once.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But he's been there. Like
Oh, yeah, he
of
knows,
course. Yeah.
We've been to
damn, we've
Camille
all
and I
been there,
traveled.
right?
We went to last year. We went to Indonesia and we went to this island Sulawesi, and like he's maybe the only other person that I know that even knows of this island because he does these big trips.
Bird
you know,
trips.
yeah,
Bird
bird
watching.
trips,
Yeah.
And we showed him. So we went on this. We went to this national park and we showed him. We saw this bird and he was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "I didn't even get to see that bird when I was up there." He was all jealous.
Wow.
Oh, dude, they came.
That's awesome.
Him and Gary came to my house like during the pandemic. I was like trying to get rid of shit. I go, come by and grab this suit, this Paul Smith suit here. Like, it hadn't been worn, you know. I'm like, and I got something for Gary too. I swear, I live right around the corner. They pull up at my house. So it's like the pandemic, so everybody's like all distancy kind of.
Yeah.
And I'm grabbing the stuff. I swear, and I'm like, where the fuck are those two? No bullshit. I walk outside. Both of them have binoculars, and they're like, "There's a steel wing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah,
like
it's so
I love
cool.
that when people are so into like like Joseph's like such a person who is a fan of music but also into birds.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
That's cool.
He told me. He told me he was at some dinner. I think it was like with David Stoltz and like the David Hockney people and all that.
Oh wow.
And he befriended like this woman who worked for like, I think it's Bausch and Lomb, who apparently make like Swarovski, something like that.
Crystals.
Yeah, but they make the best crystals for the
Okay.
for
Yes.
the the binoculars.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay. I
And
thought
he
you
was
meant
like,
something
I
else.
had to be friends with her. She gets a 30%.
Yes.
I'm not kidding you. He's bananas.
Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you're downtown doing your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go from
Yeah.
from the MTV
On top of the
awards.
world.
Yeah. And try not to like even think of that. Like I had to in my like compartmentalize that part of myself, push it away, and so I did what you do when you live on the street, like and you're a girl,
Yeah.
I was a prostitute.
Yeah.
I'll just say that, and also, I had sex for drugs. I also, robbed and boosted, and
All the stuff
all
that
the
we
things,
do.
and it was I got to a point where I don't know if there was like one moment that just sort of came to me and said I was done with it, but I think it was more about like always being under someone's thumb all the time, always and
down there is a little wild, right?
Yeah,
So there's
and I
pimps
wasn't able to be
dealers
my,
and-
I wasn't even able to, like at least when I had some money, I could, get the amount of drugs I wanted and do them where I wanted. But
Yeah.
when you have no agency,
Yeah, no
and
agency,
it was
I like
kind of
that,
like
yeah.
at all to like, so I was.
The money goes
Warren-
quick too.
Yeah, and it does.
It's
You
just
know what I
like
mean?
it's
Yeah,
just like
I-
a drug coupon. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
girls say to me
exactly.
one time.
Yeah.
It's just like a drug coupon. I remember I would be making, well, not your kind of money, but really good money for me at the time. And I'd be like, get here in 20 minutes. I'll give you another $150. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
you're just so jonesing. Money means nothing to you. All you want is fucking dope.
Yeah.
And you want it now. You know what I mean?
That
Awful.
I feel like it wasn't a lot of money, really. I mean, I didn't buy a house with the pool money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even, to this day, I make a little bit in royalties, but like, because I was the drummer, you don't, like
Right.
drummers don't.
Yeah. You're not writing the songs and stuff, right?
which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, almost in a way, the fact that I ran out of money and I don't have a lot of money was the reason. It was like saved my life.
Yeah.
Is
agree with that.
it a whole other thing because like you're in the room and you're like, oh, no, you should say this and do this and fucking at the end
Well,
everyone's like,
like-
no, it's my song. type
No,
thing.
but but if you look at the big
Yes,
picture,
Fucked up.
Yeah.
like
That's fucked
think
up.
about
Totally.
this. Like Patty's alive, right?
Yeah.
Like, but like Chris Cornell's not alive.
Right.
Lane Staley's not alive. Fucking
true.
Andrew Wood's not alive.
Right.
I mean, you
That's
think
true.
of like out of that, the amount of fucking like
Yeah.
the singers that are dead is
Right.
fucking
man.
wild.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot.
And yeah.
Because nobody's gonna say no to you. Not your manager. When you have that much money, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's endless. Like
yeah,
Lane
you just
died.
go
Like,
through it, and then it's those cliches. Like when you're gonna run out of everything, and then you're gonna be on the street, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then, and then I like reached out to a friend. I got into Cry Help.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I've been at Cry Help twice.
Yes.
It's a great fucking program.
And
it's like a fucking Ritz-Carlton hotel after you've been living like that.
Yes.
Am I right?
I know.
I mean, I was just running around the valley trapping, living in hotels and shit, like not doing the downtown thing.
Yeah.
But like when you get to Cry Help, you're like, damn, this is some fucking baller shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But
The
then
cafeteria,
you get sober
the
a while, you go
food.
back to speak there, and you're like, damn,
Right.
I don't touch anything.
Yeah. So and Music Cares put me through and they'd spent
Shout
money
out,
on me.
what's her name that used to run it?
Winnie Win or
No, I thought it was the guy.
Cherie.
Cherie.
Yeah,
Cherie,
shout out Cherie.
She's not there anymore. Yeah,
Like twice before. And so a third time they were kind of like, and they did. And, I went in and I had nothing. So I did I got out, I went into sober living.
At the tea house there with Cry Help?
I didn't do the tea house. I did it was all out in the valley in like Van Nuys,
Wow.
And it was went to NA with and the women in my sober living were like,
tough NA broads from the valley.
yeah. Oh my God. And I fucking love them.
Yeah.
We fucking held each other up.
Yeah, it's good shit, man. You need that when you're that low down the totem pole.
And they know what it's like, to talk about, the stuff you talk about when you're shooting dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all knew it. And so that
the hustles you run when you're down there and shit.
And
probably
so-
a really good way to process all that shit too,
totally. And then
It is also, you don't feel like you're the only one anymore.
right.
Fucking A.
Yes, that was such a big deal. And then they're all like taking the bus and getting jobs. And so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I took the bus and got a job at a dog daycare facility.
Hell
right?
yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I worked and like it was kind of cool to show up at 9 a.m. and then work all day and then get a paycheck and like be able to like not spend it,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
then work my way up, and then they're like, "Here's the keys. You can lock up at night." They trusted me to lock up, and I didn't, steal their shit.
Yeah, you didn't use the dog drugs and shit.
Yeah, and so it was like it built my esteem, and I was going to
fucking A.
meetings
That's
and
how
stuff.
you get. That's how you lift your self-esteem is through esteemable acts. That's what
Yes.
Alexis tells me.
Yeah.
By doing the right thing on a
My
daily
first,
basis.
when I was in sober living, I worked at a market in Manhattan Beach for $7 an hour. I mean, from Pasadena to Manhattan
What
Beach
the fuck?
every day.
Couldn't find a market
Me and
in
Mike
fucking-
Weiland both.
Oh wow, I know Mike.
Yeah.
I knew Mike. We
Yeah.
both went through Las Encinas together.
Yeah, he's been through there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But me and Mike worked together down there, and then we were PAs together.
Wow.
He's not with us.
No, he passed.
Yeah,
So
correct.
Scott.
Yeah.
Both him and
Yeah.
Scott, huh?
'Cause
Shit, another lead
what a great
singer.
guy. What a great guy.
I did that same thing at Cry Help. I kind of relate to your story but obviously I worked in fashion and whatever business, and I came from a scrappy background upbringing, you know what I mean? And I finally landed this gig with this company, and it was like fucking hot at the time. And we were like traveling to Japan and New York and doing these trade shows and all these, and I'm around these fucking people of influence. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking so cool. And I started drinking again, and I started fucking around again, you know what I mean? And like, they tried to hold me up and, give me little, chances and stuff like that. And I had a very dramatic, kind of like you described your last, where they're like, no more. And I had a very public relapse, like find the door kind of situation at a trade show in Vegas. And I did exactly what you said, where I just went and put a bunch of dope on it to not feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't stop putting dope on it until I lost my place in Newport Coast, all my stuff, all my shit, my car, my freedom, you know what I mean? And at the end of it, I was in the valley with a heroin habit and a whole new set of fucking tools to deal with life on that were bad tools that ended up landing me ultimately in Cry Help.
Yeah.
Thank God. But I too took the bus and humbled myself, and I had worked for this big department store in the past, and I had like a really good record of working with them 10 years prior, and they let me come back to work there. Now I'm taking the bus to the mall. You know what I mean? After doing all this fabulous shit, I'm like taking the bus to the mall. I'm using like clothing vouchers at Ross to get
Humility
is, you know what I mean?
It's like,
and I'm there in the store, and like all the people that I used to travel with and ball out with and do all this cool stuff are like walking in there, and I'm in the shoe department like, hey, can I help you out with anything?
Yeah.
It was humbling, man. It was humbling, you know, but it helped me get to the other
Didn't
side.
I see you working there?
Maybe.
Was it Glendale?
No, it was the Grove. Yeah.
I think I did.
It was like, talk about feeling a light shining on you and shit. It was like, damn.
Yeah.
It's those things, but you know what? Those little jobs, those like get well jobs, that thing, you know, it's like,
they did.
If you were to give me, you know, hey, if you were to be like, here's a, you know, whatever, like, let's say even a $70,000 a year job at that point, you know, I would have put it straight back
you know
in the
what?
spoon, back in the syringe, back in the pipe right away.
And the fucked up thing is people did that for me after that because I had so many connections. People were like, here's a place on 3rd Street by Jones on 3rd. Like, don't worry. I just fucked
because
everything
we're all
up.
us addicts, we're little magical people, and people fucking love us.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know, we are.
No, addicts and alcoholics are all 99.9% of the time like really charismatic, skilled, energetic, loving, connected people. But the disease and the booze and shit just completely takes that connection
I think
away
like
from
when you
us,
think of how obsessive our nature is, like, and there's no really doubt of, when you think like every one of us, like everybody we know tends to be really good at what they do when they're sober, because like it's all this house pet energy focused into something good. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like look at what Danny's done with the tropical. Or, you know what
wild.
I mean?
Yeah,
it's wild.
All that kind of
shoot
shit.
Dope in the bathroom.
Wait, tell Patty that story. Hey,
no,
tell Patty that story when you had to make the amends. This is the best.
My God. So I was living down the street from Tropical. I had a little place like a few blocks away, and I would go cop. There used to be like I would go down to Skid Row. There was a guy that I met at the methadone clinic that was like, hey, like I would try to cop out there because I was always like, the dope down at Skid Row wasn't good, you know. It was like it was. I mean, you know, everybody knows that.
Yes.
You know, like, it wasn't good, but it was cheap, and you
That's
get
why
it.
I keep it in
like,
the valley.
Just
saying.
I would always be like worried that I'd get robbed down there, which a lot of the time I would, you know, or I would get like a bag like with some bird doo-doo in it, with some soap, whatever. Ridiculous. So I ran into this kid, and he was like, hey, he's like, oh, you got to go down. I think his name was Cliff, and I think he passed away. He would always have a guitar with him, you know, and I was like, dude, like, and he never clucked it, which was always crazy to me, you know. I was like, oh, just cluck that thing, you know. Yeah. But he was like, he was a busker, so he would always like, you know, he needed that. It was one of his tools, tool of the trade. And he was like, "Oh, you go to the VA and you could get dope at the VA at the methadone clinic outside that was right next to the federal jail. Like that shares a wall with it.
No way.
So we would be out there in the morning copping with literally like people like next door to the federal jail.
Right there on Alameda. Yeah. Oh wow.
And so I would take the bus down there and I would cop and I'd get back and I would get money from everybody. I'd get money from everybody and I would go and cop and then come back. But you know, it was like before I made it back to the house, I would always, you know, you have to pinch everybody's bag. Take your little piece. So I would stop at Tropical.
People always be like, heroin doesn't come like this. Like, it's always like sealed like fucking Fort Knox. You know what I mean? Like my shit would come in a piece of a shopping bag wrapped up in foil in a balloon. But then I'd get there and it'd be open.
Of course. That's me. I would, you know. And so I would always stop at Tropical, and I'd be like, "Oh, I could go into the bathroom, and I would, you know, I would get a little get well in, and then I'd get a little get well, and I could pinch everybody's, and then I literally lived 2 blocks away, but it was like my pit stop, you know, I was off the bus, it was perfect, and I knew, you know, I knew Donato, the former owner, rest in peace. I knew enough people in the meetings, and I go in there one time and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do a little dope. I pinched everybody's and I'm just going to do a little dope. And like next thing I know, I'm being walked at, like, you know, paramedics are like pulling me out and I don't know if you remember, but the bathroom used to be attached to the meeting room.
Yes.
So I'm getting dragged out of the meeting. Like while a morning meeting too, you know, it's like people are on their way to work, you know.
Meeting.
And I come back in, you know, and I would get sober and I'd come back and Donato, the owner, looks at me and he was like, Donnie, he's like, you can come to the meeting, you can come to the cafe. He goes, but please don't come to the bathroom. He said, please don't come to the bathroom. You know? And what's crazy is the first financial. So I got it. You know, I went into treatment and I got a little job. Like I was at the treatment center that we worked at, that I went through, and I was like, I had an internship there, and I would work whatever, and I think what did they pay you? It would go towards your
microloan.
No, I never got a microloan, which I fucked up. I should have
gotten
I missed out. Yeah, everybody would get these microloans. I never got one of those. But I think they would like pay for your sober living, and then you would get like a check for $400 a week. Something like that.
Yeah,
and I remember getting that first check and being so excited, and my sponsor at the time being like, "That's not your money," He's like, "What do you?" And I was like, "What do you mean that's not my money? It's a check in my name. Yeah, it says this says my, And he was like, "Oh no," he goes, "What about all those amends you have to make?" And I was like, and I'd never made any amends. And he was like, "Well, who do you got on this?" He's like, "Pull up in the list," and we looked. And the first there was a NA noon meeting that I stole money from from the 7th tradition at the Tropical. And he goes, "Okay, why don't you go make that one?" He goes, "And who else is around there that you stole from?" And I was like, "Well, I also, the owner Donato used to feed me and would, and he would always he kept a running tab." And I was like, and so I owe him. He goes, "Okay, great." He goes, "You can go make 2 of those." And I took the bus on, I put in a pass and I took the bus. Went there. I made amends to the NA meeting. Everybody was all stoked, and they all clapped. Yeah, because I'm sure.
Oh, you went in the meeting and announced you're making an amends.
I made them amends. I made them amends. It was the Wednesday noon meeting. And then I went to Donato after, and I pulled him aside, and he was like so excited to see me because he'd seen me doing okay and then not okay at okay, and he was like, it's you see somebody and you don't know if they're alive or not, and I was like, hey, I got to tell you, I was like, I don't know if you remember how much money. He goes, oh, I remember how much money. Wow. He would give me sandwiches and coffee, and I made financial amends to him, and that was the first. Those were the first 2 I made, and shortly after that he passed away.
Oh man!
But I got to do that, and then how crazy the full circle, it's like
you're like, oh no, it's so wild. I mean, when we had Dead City on here, the drummer and lead singer came up in the game with Danny, and they ran the streets, fucking in and out of prison and jail, and just doing all kinds of stuff. And they were like, this guy was the worst.
I was the worst.
To see him go through everything and it's just a testament to the program and the work and God and everything else. It's just so cool,
A funny Dead City story. So when they did their first music video, our friend Gilbert directed it, and he cast Dylan Carlson in it. And so Dylan and I played detectives in this Dead City video called Med Psychosis.
And
we're going around chasing after them.
Dylan lives in Eagle Rock too, I think, right?
Does he? I don't.
The song is called Meth Psychosis.
Yeah. When he was coming, I mean, he's a miracle that he's.
He is.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, we did a lot together.
And I think he's like the last one of all the people we know from Seattle to get sober.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you think Patty and Callie and Renee, they've all been sober for fucking ever.
Yeah. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my last year. I got clean and sober in 2005, and then 2008. Well, I met right away. I met my girlfriend who became my wife. Right, 6 months of sobriety. Right.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we do.
Same.
And then 2008 we get married because it's legalized, and then 2010 we had a baby.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then around 2015 or so, I'm at my psychiatrist's office, and my psychiatrist says, I'm going to prescribe Adderall because you have ADHD. And I'm like, yeah. And so I went hard on that.
Oh, wow.
I like right away with it. And then
as prescribed, or you took it more?
As prescribed, but I did some real, like, it got to, I did some like things like, calling up the pharmacy and going, this is, acting like I'm my doctor, and like doing like some really, and then pulling shit with my own doctor, like, I'm going to Canada, I need to get an early refill, like a lot of this stuff.
Dope feed
and
moves.
Everybody at that pharmacy knows, they knew what was going on. And so it got to a point where I started thinking about, like, wow, I think, I need to get some kind of, like, I think I should start taking like Percocets or something, like starting to look
level
for that.
You out. You're trying to level out. Yeah. Oh, shit.
And so then, like this one particular day, it was like April or end of March last year. I'm with my daughter who's 15, and I'm taking her to her a dentist appointment, and she's like, you know, she's just being a 15-year-old. She's like, Mom, we have time before the appointment. Can we just go to Starbucks? And I was like 2 days off Adderall and like stretched, you know, where I'm like, have no patience. And I'm like, fuck, you know, and like turn the car around to go to like, fine, we'll go to Starbucks, you know, and turn the car around and like pull into the, and she's like, what's going on? And then I just fucking started crying, you know, and like I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't lie to my partner. I couldn't lie to my family. And like also operating in sober spaces and being a liar, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I called home, and my partner, thank God, Steph, is our thing together was we both had the same amount of time. We had 20 years, you know, but not this person. Mm-hmm. And then so we, you know, I get home and she's like, it's okay, you know, just I'll take care of B, that's my daughter, and you know, and so I reached out to Nicole, and she was like, she was there for me, and so I expect I had such a thing about having all this time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that happens.
And then,
people.
But then, like, my first meeting, I fucking stood, you know, I have, you know, raised my hand as a newcomer, and it just felt okay. You know, like, finally, I'm honest.
Probably a relief.
Yeah. And like trying to unravel the lies, like, wait a minute, how much time do I have? Or what did I say to this person? And how, you know, it was like a tapestry I'd woven.
It's funny when you have time.
Yeah.
Like I still to this day have dreams where I relapsed. And
Right.
all of a sudden, and I'm like, and I can't quite explain it, but in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the dream.
Yeah.
But the reality
I
is
can
like,
never fix. I got the
Me
dough,
too.
and I'm like trying to find like
broken in my pocket.
totally same.
Yeah.
Or like I'm like trying to
fine.
like get this foil and it's like
Yeah.
fucking not burning. And I'm like, so
you're
Still,
like,
to this day.
but we all forget it's fucking one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All it is a bunch of one days together.
You know what someone from Cry Help said one time that killed me? He said, at midnight, we're all tied for first place.
Well, I just had 1 year on April 1st.
That's
Amazing. Fucking A.
And, you know, I you know, some people can take it and take, you know, stimulants and be cool with it, but anything, it's like,
No.
Thank God it didn't lead you to dope, though.
I
You know what I mean?
but it was gonna go there.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
it's like I'd built my life up. I'd built this sort of safety net of things around me that, well, I've got that, you know, I can't, you know, like, you know, I don't want to lose that, but, you know, I don't know. I tried to build this sort of buffer around me so that I wouldn't get back to the street. You know?
And
It
you're
was
probably
going
successful. I mean, you're clearly successful in that, you know, which is right. It's growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's growth, right? I mean,
but not showing up to meetings, not doing any stuff.
Yeah.
And not like I had it was.
I mean, Adderall's basically speed, right?
Yeah, that's all it
At the end of
is.
the day,
And
right.
for me,
I've never done it, but I've heard.
You know, like for me, but I'm a person that can, like, I can go to sleep anywhere. I mean, like I'm like, I'm more like prone to sleeping than I am for any, like, so I was like, this is great. Speed, all the speed, you know, and like, and the doctor said it was fine. I'm good. And, you know, like, and then to come off of that and then go through brain fog and then like be, you know, like, you know, thinking back on how many times I kicked dope, and then you think about like, wow, if I'm having such a hard time, you know, coming off of this, I mean, imagine what it would be like. Not that I, you know, would ever want to wish it upon, but to like, it's just like my body is like, and my brain, I'm like just getting my shit together in my mind, you know?
No, I remember becoming a slave to like getting strung out on Norcos after having a little bit of time. The time I was in Cry Help, I got out and I moved back in with an ex on the west side, and it was just like, and then I somehow or another I just started chipping Norcos, and then I was like up to 15 a day, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm strung out, and I'm like, I can't not do them. And I'm in a meeting on the west side that's like, you have to have 10 years to speak. It's like an old timers meeting, and I'm just like sweating at the end of my workday, just like fucking, and you're just like, I'm going to take 2 in the morning, 1 tomorrow afternoon, and you have these plans and how you're going to get off.
Oh my God, the plans.
And you're just like, it's never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ended up back on dope.
And I'm like, oh my God, at this age, I'm still doing this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally.
What are you doing now, Patty?
What, like musically or like with, well, not a lot really. You know, I did a score for, Dustin Lance Black he's a film director and a writer. He did that Sean Penn movie Milk, and he did a lot of
fucking masterpiece.
He reached out and he said, "Hey, I'm doing a documentary about gay and lesbian people in the music business. What, you know, back in the 60s when music, you know, rock and roll started, that were closeted, you know, like Brian Epstein and like the manager of The Who was gay, like so many.
Elton John was closeted.
Yes, he's in this too. And I'd like you to do the score, just drums, all drums. And I was like,
sick.
what?
Oh, that's cool.
That's
like
so
a dream come true. Totally.
What's it called?
It's called Rock Out.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's a cool name. I like that.
So I did that, and that was like such a like satisfying, you know, creative thing to do, and and like thinking about doing some music. But I like my brother, who's also clean and sober, and he is a guitar player, and he is always like, yeah, let's play, let's do something, and I'm like, God, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? So like right now, I started, you know how you get certification to be a tech at a rehab?
Yes.
So I started that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that certification. And so I'm looking for work, and I'm like looking for work doing that.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like,
I'm
reached
gonna,
out.
I can hook you up with some,
Awesome. Because I keep, like, I've got one person who's like, we'll get you in for it. And I'm like, you know.
Yeah,
I'm like really trying to
$3.75 an hour.
spread a wide, you know,
for sure.
net.
Yeah.
This is a good
So-
place to talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I worked in it for 8 years, and you know, and and that industry needs people that are good and that care. You know, 'cause there's a lot of people there that are just, you know, that are like trying to work their way up or trying to get a paycheck or trying to whatever.
Dude, like,
and it's very, you know what, and it's like very meaningful and rewarding work. You know?
It is, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of it so many times. You know, like I know, like I've been the one dumping out the suitcase, like, I'm sorry, there's 80 crack pipes in there, you know, whatever, you know, and that person's like,
I did the Tarzana, super sick. I woke up and I had nothing left. The people I was staying with, like the woman of the house, made me give her my wake up in the middle of the night, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to treatment. And her boyfriend was driving me in the morning. And I grabbed a bunch of stuff from the storage unit I had in the West Valley, and I'm checking in, and this like essay was like an essay was the like in the scrubs, you know, but he's like got the neck tat and shit, you know, and he's like going through my shit, and one of those like amazing like scientific speed pipes like fell out of my shoe, you know, like the hard glass that you can't fucking break. And there's like a perfectly packed bowl melted in there, like no hits had been taken out there. I still think of that bowl to this day. Like if you're a dope fiend like me, like I've never thrown away drugs. Like only a handful of times when I really meant it, but like I've never, even paranoid, like I just. And that thing fell out, and I was so sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, just let me take a couple hits off that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, hell no, I'll call the director in here right now. He's like, I've been sick before, real sick. You ain't sick. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
I know.
So pissed, you know?
That's the kind of shit that only happens to him.
So pissed off.
I mean, nobody would have let you smoke, but only Reno would get something like that. I've been sick.
Yeah. Real sick. Like, I'm some punk bitch. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck you. So funny. But no, that I'm sponsoring a guy that was in music in the 90s and came out here and fucking had a cool experience and like and you know lost it all behind dope and stuff. But he's sober a long time now, and he actually just got his rad teat is trying to do the same thing.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah,
cool. For sure.
I think like the idea of like I gave up the idea of like I still like to play music, but it's like gotta let go of that like, oh, it's going to happen again. You know, you know, it's like, no, it's not. And I'm good with that. And like, like my identity, it doesn't have to be that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And like, and if I didn't let go of that, I was going to die, you know, like that person was, you know, still trying to get, it's like so much
Trying to
ego.
get back, trying to get back.
So much ego and, you know, like all this stuff wrapped into it that was just bad. You know?
Yeah.
But you touched on something too, and I want to just back this up real quick. So you touched on like that coming back and like raising your hand as a newcomer after having, you know, 20 years or 9
yeah.
And raising your hand is new. And we have a friend that I mean, just this week, you know, and what I would like, I'll say, you know, Greg Foreman, who who just passed away, you know, who we lost behind this thing, you know, who was in and out for a long time and who, you know, had a little bit of time and some people knew that he came, you know, people knew that he got prescribed medication, you know, and started taking the prescribed, you know, and then came home from this tour and, you know, this big tour just wrapped and he started getting a little loaded and people found out and they did an intervention. And in this intervention, he told the people there, he goes, hey, he's like, I just can't raise my hand as a new, you know, I just can't let people know because I'm scared of the consequences. You know, maybe I'll get kicked out of this band and all this stuff, you know.
This is really a story.
And he didn't want, and he didn't want to, you know, and so they were like, hey, you know what, like, just as long as you're like honest with the core group of people, it's okay, you know. Yeah. And who knows what would have happened, you know. But one of those things was he was, you know, I know for me, like I've come to meetings and I've been around and I've tried to hide that thing.
Me too,
and and he didn't make it. You know, we got a call 2 days ago that he passed away.
God damn.
You know?
And it's the hardest fucking thing to do, right? For sure. But it's just like you just described it, the relief on the other side
that
of it.
weight. I could still feel that weight being lifted when you just and it's like finally, like, you know, it's carrying around all these personas. It's like showing up as this, you know, and that, and like never knowing how to mix it up. For me, it was like you know, like when I'm like with my homies, I gotta be this fucking tough guy, you know, and then like when I'm with my mom, I'm like this nice boy, you know, and then like when I'm with my girl, you know, or then like when I'm with the people that I'm selling drugs to, then I gotta be like, Hollywood, you know, like, hey. And then, like, you know, when all those things, you're like, when you're like putting on these masks and you forget which one, and you like, you know, like I snap on my mom or I, you know, whatever. Like, you come out in a certain way.
Better not snap on your mom.
Keith tells us I show up with a black eye, you know what happened? Keith got me. But it's that thing, you know, when you finally just admit, like, oh, it's like this sigh that you've been, you know, this thing that you've been holding on to. So anybody who's listening or watching or whatever, like,
fuck it. That's really what, man. It's like we're just like, without this fucking thing, we're all just holding our fucking breath. You know, when you think about like, no matter what you're doing, heroin, dope, alcohol, I mean,
prescription,
prescription. The whole fucking thing is just holding your breath. It's weird. And then, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
I heard a speaker say, you know, and this was so good where they asked him, they were like, he was like, you know, whatever. He was like, they were like, you know, he like sits down with the sponsor and the sponsor tells him, he goes, hey, so he's like, oh, so long you've been sober? He goes, oh, about 5 years, you know, and he goes, and he was like, oh, he's like, where's your big book? And the guy's like, what's a big book? You know, and he goes, what? Like, that's crazy. He didn't know what a big book was, you know, 5 years sober. And the guy goes, hey, he goes, I got a question to ask you. He goes, hey, he goes, how long can you hold your breath for? And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, because that's what the fuck you've been doing this whole time, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
that's crazy.
And it's such a great way of putting it. You know? Like, how long, how long could you be in a 12-step program and not do the 12 steps, you know? Like, how long could you hold your breath, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was that thing.
The crazy thing is, too, it's just like, there's no perfect fucking way to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just, you know, do some bullshit and write some stuff down, and you probably do it wrong the first time, and you're going to, like, that's how I did it. I did, you know, with my first sponsor, I won't name him. He's hella cool. I love him to death. But we did, like, the Coors Light of steps. You know what I mean? It was like, again, kind of just to get my privileges back and treatment, you know, just to write some shit. It's lightweight stuff. I mean, I had a cool experience with it, but I didn't have the profound like learning experience like I have now where like the language of the book is like really like fucking hits me until I worked with Alexis at 5 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I really like read the book with him like a couple hours a week and just read it page by page and got through it.
I'm doing the steps different than I've ever done the steps in with my sponsor Katie and when I'm doing the steps, but then also in meetings, early on, I started to hear the word freedom more. And I want to be free. Yeah. I want to be free of, you know, and it's starting to get better. You know, it's lighter. It gets a little lighter.
That's cool.
And then even, you know, I'm on my 4th step, but I've been in like 1, 2, and 3. And I really have got stuck on, I want my spiritual experience to be like drugs. Like, I want to feel it like that, you know? And it's like, that's not how it works.
Although, if you've never done breath work.
Yeah,
okay.
Breath work. If you've never done breath work, we were in the same treatment center.
Yeah.
I was a little bit ahead of him, but one of the things, I mean.
What happened to midnight?
That thing raised like Reno's ego, huh?
But the breath work, you get high as a motherfucker off
Right.
it.
I believe it.
And then I feel like it changed the pathways in my brain. Because when I got there, I was really, you know, all I thought about was dope, hustles, making moves, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And I really came down, landed, was able to kind of like pause and listen to people and process information. You know what I mean? And it was like through those, like, we were kind of doing like labored breathing sessions or like, you know, 40 minutes long, you know, to a musical soundtrack. You're like, fucking, it's psychedelic for real.
Yeah.
I appreciated that because I too like drugs.
Right.
Yeah, John D, who actually is somewhere by here, you know, he's a breathwork practitioner that's really rad. Yeah.
Was he the one at the Fox thing or no?
Yeah, that was him, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, what's the name? Yeah,
Gianni,
yeah.
Dave.
He does his with the cold plunge too.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of guys that do it. It's rad.
Yeah.
All right, before there's 2 questions that we always ask, but before we get to those, all right, you have any good Jabberjaw stories for us?
Jabberjaw stories.
Or did you ever because you did the rehearsal there, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever, and
what? No, I mean, like, just seeing bands there, really. Yeah. I mean, nothing, let me think.
Why? Because Callie and them were around.
Yeah, they were around a lot. Did Renee tell?
No, Renee told me to ask you about, Renee did tell me to ask about, is it Everett or Evergreen or what was it? You know, where was it? He was like, what's the city?
Everett, Washington?
Yeah, Everett. He was like, ask it, he's like, tell her about Everett. Yeah, but I don't know. But that's all he said, you know?
I don't remember.
Do you remember him from back then?
Oh, totally. Yes,
Did you get loaded with him?
And
he must have looked like a fucking 12-year-old boy back then.
He was. I'm not even gonna. He'll tell you what his nickname for me is, and I hate it, and I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, it seemed like we were always out of dope when we were together, like you know, like scrimping and looking and trying to find it, and like drinking horrible beer on the beach, and never. I didn't do. I didn't really do a lot of dope with them, you know, but because we were always hiding. Everybody was hiding from each other, you know. But
meaning like you and the other music.
Yeah, like I'm not doing it, you know.
Yeah. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The only person I would get high with is Dylan a lot, and he would always keep everything. He was always like never tell anybody. You know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's 2 questions that we always ask. Number 1 is, did you ever try PCP?
No.
Never.
But God, there was this one time, and it had to have been something like that. I was in Seattle, and it was like went to this fucked up crack house, and I remember smoking something, and it was like crack, but then it was also like almost like a hallucinogen, but I was also like walking into walls and stuff. So there could have been a moment. You never know.
Yeah,
you know?
that probably
so
somebody
it
gave
could
you
be. You never
if
know.
you're doing bumper cars, it's
yeah.
Danny likes that walking into walls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to ask you real quick though before you ask the second question. What was the heroin like in Seattle way back then? Was it just tar? Like it was here?
Tar. And it was great.
The whole West Coast is tar, right?
It was great. You know, it's what you want.
Yeah.
Isn't it like, I think
honestly,
everywhere, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, I think the whole West Coast.
It was
I don't
so
understand,
much better
man,
than
I'm so
LA,
sick of this tar.
Oh, really?
But in Seattle is much better. But then it was easier to get in LA because you could just drive down the street. You know, we didn't have that.
You had
in
to
Seattle.
know.
Oh, really?
The house, you know, and
Oh, really?
there was no one on the street. ever in Seattle.
Yeah. Wow. Were they tough on drug crime up there back then?
Yeah, but also there wasn't like we weren't out in the park doing it.
Right, right. Yeah, not like here where like there's like, I hear you. That's crazy.
I remember the first time like I went down to MacArthur Park and seeing, and I was like literally like the way I could describe it is like seeing all the lighters go off. Like I thought it was like fireflies. I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh my God, that's all lighters. Like people just lighting up at night.
Crack.
Smoking crack. Yeah. Really? Back when like Bonnie Bray was still like really active.
Yes, Fourth and Bonnie Bray. Like I'm still like I'm always like a little bit curious, like
what's going on?
Are going on down there? It's like stop it, zip it, right there. Let's wrap that up right now.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to like.
God, I hate downtown. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do too. My kid's taking ballet at Marat, which is in Koreatown. And I keep not thinking I'm driving or like, and I'll get off the 110 and take and it's just like. Ratchet.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, totally.
And my kid's like, she goes, "Don't look, Dad, don't look him in the eye." She's real freaked out by him.
Yeah, it's freaky too much. The kids see those.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem is nothing's against the law, and in my opinion, I'm an ex-con, but like, at least if you put those people in jail for shit, they'll have a chance of getting sober. But
100%.
What's going on now? None of them are going to get sober.
Yeah,
there's
no
consequence.
they don't get busted.
Yeah.
They don't get busted at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You see these like dudes with like full blasted up that probably were just usually back in the day in and out. You know what I mean? And in there, they're running shit or whatever. Now they're out here in a tent, and you don't know what they're capable of.
I mean, I never saw people walking on freeways. If you walked on a freeway, you would have gotten picked up and taken to, either to like put on a psych hold or just taken to jail for walking on the freeway. Now it's like, you look, you're like, there's another person. Now it's like the new normal.
Right.
Yeah, I caught a case in Corona walking on the freeway. I had bought this really. My car ran out of gas. I had this like kind of cool, like nice salvage title Acura, but I was out there on a good one, and it was like sun up. And I just like rolled down the on-ramp on the freeway, and my car just fucking ran out of gas. And I was running across. I was loaded, so I'm like, instead of going up and over and around to the gas station, I'm just gonna run across the freeway to the gas station. And right away, this cop pulls me over. What are you doing? Get in the car. You're gonna get killed. And I had paraphernalia on me. At Riverside County, they don't mess around. Brutal.
Yeah, before you would get popped for paraphernalia, like you would, like you didn't even have to have drugs on you. You'd have a pipe, you have a needle, if you had foil and a lighter on you, they'd be like, "All right, we're taking you." Or like I had a straw one time, with something in it, and they would arrest you for that.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can be full on hitting. You could be shooting. I mean, I've seen people shooting up in their neck on the street, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Smoking. Where
I grew up in Riverside County, if you were high, it was 90 days in jail. Mm-hmm. If you were not on weed, if you were on like meth or whatever, and they would like take you in, they would fucking take blood or whatever. Yeah. Like it was aggressive.
I mean, possession.
It's like a red county though in California.
Possession of methamphetamine in the 90s was a felony. Like they'd arrest you, charge you, usually get dropped to a misdemeanor, but it was like a wobbler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like I got a 2-year prison for possession of meth and a firearm,
Yeah, it's just
and a firearm.
It's just
a little firearm.
I heard someone say it once. It's just like if you don't, with these people who are in crisis out there in full-blown addiction, doing all these crazy things, just totally loaded. If you don't arrest them and throw them in jail, they don't have a break to have a chance to, you know what I mean? It's like the old system worked. You go to jail, you dry up. By the time you saw the judge, maybe you're out of your like little thing and you're like back to your normal self. And if you're just like, fuck you, send me the joint, then that's who you were and that's how you rolled. But if you're like somebody who's just like in crisis, then they could see that at that moment and be like, let's get you somewhere where you can get some help. You know what I mean? But like, you just
and that modern meth is fucking those people they're never.
I was gonna say earlier, like when you were talking about trying to keep it together in public back then when you were loaded, you kind of could because the drugs were good at least.
Yeah.
Like now it's like just poison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're just like trying to kill people. It's fucked up.
It is.
Yeah. Well, when you have a judge when you would go to see a judge, they would be like, "Hey, you're back here again. we can offer you this or a program, you know, people were getting, or like you would go back or they would like send people on a court card to NA or AA or whatever. Now it's like, unless you get a DUI, you know, unless you get a DUI, we're not seeing anybody come in through the courts, you know?
Yeah.
And then people don't, like, people would come in through treatment, you know? Like, people would come into treatment and then would maybe not stay sober, but they would know where to go. The seed would be planted. They would at least know where to be able to find us.
Yeah.
I came to meetings for, you know, probably about 5 or 6 years just to remember that when I would get sober, there was somewhere for me to go so I wouldn't stray too far. I would come to me. I was the guy that would I would take other junkies or tweak it. I'd be like, hey, let's go to a meeting. They'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, come on, you know, like, because I would just want to just be tethered, you know, like to remember that there was somewhere to go because you forget.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I had to go to drug classes, and I would get high and go to the drug classes. Yeah. It was like, and then, you know, court card, what? I would just make up my own shit.
Yeah, totally.
One of my favorite court card stories, I have a friend who told me this. So there was a guy that, he knew this guy that basically came in, and this guy's, his dealer got popped, and it was his coke dealer. And the guy was like, you know, he comes over to get a bag, and the guy's sitting there, and he goes, I got to go to fucking these, you know, they always call it classes. I got to go to AA classes. I got to go to AA or classes or whatever. And to fucking, you know, I got popped, and the guy that he's getting the dope from, he goes, "What's anonymous?" He goes, "Why don't I go for you?" He's like, "I could go for you if you hook me up." And the guy goes, "Yeah, you'll do that?" And he goes, "Sure." So the guy gets, and he had 30 AA, you know, he had to go to 30 AA classes in 30 days, you know. So he takes the court card, and the guy would go, he would take the court card, he'd bring it back, and he'd get a gram of coke, you know. And the next day he'd go back.
For each meeting,
he'd get him a gram. And he was like, "Dude, this is great."
Wow.
Must have been the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't know about you could sign, you know.
Yeah.
So the 30th day, the guy comes and he goes and he gets a gram of coke and he goes, "Hey, all right, I'll see you later." And he goes, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I think I'm going to go back to the meetings. You know, I heard some shit there, you know."
No way.
That guy ended up staying sober. Yeah, he has like 10 years sober today.
That's wild.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, speaks to like, it doesn't, we never know.
Yeah.
You know, like you never know when somebody, like he wasn't there trying to, like he was there getting a court card signed for his dealer, you know, to get a free gram of coke.
There's all sorts of motherfuckers who, they come with their friend, like, man, you got to get it together. And all of a sudden they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, right.
Maybe me too.
You hear lots of people sharing that.
Yeah.
Patty, have you ever seen a ghost?
No.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Never seen a ghost. No.
That's our other question.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Danny
Where the
has.
fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
We had when we had Blackie on, you know.
Okay,
rest in peace, you know.
Yeah.
And we had Blackie on, and it kind of like, and it started this whole theme about ghost stories, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Is that where it started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It ended up being like a Halloween episode that we did with Blackie. Yeah. Rest in peace. Yeah, Blackie was the coolest.
Yeah, he was cool.
Every time we go through Chicago, call up Blackie.
Is that where they were from?
He would God, he'd get on the bus and then he'd, you know, give some for Courtney, and then I'd kind of call him over, you know, secretly, you know, and he'd bring some for me, and
That's awesome.
I mean, Blackie was
awesome.
maybe the funniest people I've ever met in my entire
Oh,
life.
dude, I was in Impact with him, and him and Mike Weil. I mean, he would have us dying.
He was in Cry Help with me too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, him and DH were there.
Oh,
at the
no
same
shit.
time. Yeah, it was like
Both
the
gone.
drummers.
Yeah.
All of us.
DH was with us at CRLA. No, I was.
He went through there too?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I think he had a bunch of time, but he had a slip.
Yeah.
But fuck, man. I remember.
DH was, I mean, there's so many people, you know, so many amazing, talented, you know, I mean, DH was like, you would see him coming and he would like light up the room, you know, just like,
totally,
you know?
totally. And he fucking looked 32, dude. Like,
I know!
It's so crazy. I was like, it's my sister. I remember mentioning my sister was an old punk who, like, you know, worked at, she lived in San Francisco at one point and worked at Rough Trade Records, and, like, you know, it was down here at a college radio station, was a DJ. And I remember telling her, like, she was a fan. I was like, oh, yeah, DH is a friend of mine. She's like, and I just couldn't put it together that he was the original drummer for the Dead Kennedys because it came out in like fucking 1982.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
No,
dude.
like 79.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Something fucking crazy. And then when I eventually went to CRLA and he was out. We were all working out at the Hollywood YMCA, and he was in there just fucking chiseled.
Yes.
In there, you know?
Yeah.
He always had great cars too. I think.
Yeah.
Did he have like a mint green Challenger?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Did.
I lived in Koreatown. I was a few blocks away from him, and anytime that thing was in the shop, he'd be like, "Hey, yo, could you pick me up?" And give me and I'd pull up in my little Camry. Callie gave me that Camry, you know, and it was a car that he had, and I would pick him up, and he'd be like, "Shit," he's like, "The Challenger's great." He goes, "But this Camry's running," you know.
Yeah.
That thing was always in the shop. Dude.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you for having me. This was so much
And
fun.
what's the name of your book?
Oh, it's called Hit So Hard.
Hit
and
So
that's the
Hard
doc,
by Patty
too. It's the
Schemel.
same. Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
Yeah.
All
Cool.
right.
Thank
And and thank you guys for listening. We would like to thank the Archer Rivas Foundation for hosting us, for having us here. If you need help, if you guys are trying to get sober, or if you are sober and you're like coming up short on EBT money, or you don't have clothes or whatever, like hit up Archer Rivas Foundation. We'll drop a link somewhere at some point to reach out, and they're there to help you. I know tons of guys and ladies that have gotten help through there that are doing really great today.
Yeah, lots of people.
Yeah.
Lots of people.
And we're so stoked to be back. We're stoked to have this video and this great thing. We have a Patreon. We got a bunch of stories that we recorded as Patreon stories that we could not post because we were logged out of our Patreon account. As of last week, we're back in. We're going to post like 20 Patreon stories, but we need you guys to sign up and to help us because we're currently like putting together our change jars to get this to cover the cost of the studio
100%,
space. Yeah,
100%.
So jump on,
deep.
dig deep. You know, hey, what's the saying?
Don't sneeze,
don't cough. Just
break them off. Yeah. Patty, thank you so much.
Thank
and thank you
you.
guys.
Thanks.
And we'll see you next week.
Right on.